Hello, children. Morning, kids. I have some rare good news, good economic news, and boy, in Cappy's world, when an economist hears good economic news, that's very rare. That coffee needs to be heated up. And I'm seriously hoping that Joshua Fluke would retweet this or something because this pertains more to his audience, meaning younger people, Gen Z. I'd even say Generation Alpha or whatever's coming after. Let's just admit the millennials ain't going nowhere. Um, in building my house, that requires a lot of trade and labor. And no matter where you go in the country, they are lacking skilled tradesmen. But not only are they lacking skilled tradesmen, they're lacking any apprentices, any new labor, or just general laborers to come in. They can't find the employees. You look at labor force participation rates. There's certainly the surplus of labor. You look at it based on age. There's certainly young people available to work if they should choose to do so, but they just can't find anyone to work. Also in South Dakota, now keep in mind, South Dakota was one of them that did not shut down. um, there's a chain out there called Marlins. I like going to Marlins because they're open 24/7, and they got pretty good food. And for South Dakota, if you're ever planning on moving to the Dakotas, do not expect fine French cuisine out there. And there's like a $500 hiring bonus. I talked to my buddy Jerry at the bar. Now I'm back in Minneapolis to show you it's nationwide. And I said, "Hey Jerry," he installs gutters. I said, how's the gutter business?" "Oh man, we're busy. We're busy. We're 8 weeks backed out. 8 weeks. Not because they don't have the aluminum. They got the aluminum. They can't find installers. And so they're backed up 8 weeks. I said, "Well, can't find anyone. Can't find anyone." Now there's many, many other examples of employers desperate to hire people. Let me explain what's happening in the labor market as to why there seems to be this labor shortage, even though we were in this disease-inspired recession. We have started with Trump, by the way. Not that I have a political leaning one way or the other in this particular case, but we have stimmy checks. And that's certainly been turned up to, maybe not 15, but certainly turned up to 10 with Biden bucks. That people are like, well, you're paying. And someone did a study where you're effectively paid $16 an hour to collect some kind of government assistance. Through all the various sorts of government assistance, you're around $16 an hour. And so why would you take a job that doesn't pay $16 an hour? And I understand, it makes complete economic sense. Another thing that's been happening, and I've talked about how one of the few things I do like about the millennials or younger generations in general is not through any doing of their own, but by a complete spoiling and indoctrination of entitlement, programming of entitlement by their boomer Gen X parents. They've trained younger generations to well, I'm not doing that, like a complete entitlement. And whereas it should be the eighth deadly sin. Sloth, I guess laziness is one. It's one of the seven deadly sins. What that has done is something that I've always kind of wished that certainly white collar America would have done. And that is unionize on a national level where it's like, no, we ain't working. Because as much as I am for capitalism, as much as I am for corporate profits and economic growth and high standards of living, man, did corporate America, I know you youngins, thankfully the boomers are retiring. My generation had to deal with those bleep wipes our entire time. And they were lying sacks of filth. The bankers that got bailed out, I wonder who started the education bubble. Maybe it was the boomer professors? Everyone go get my book, How Not to Become a Millennial. You read through it. I don't know, where was I going with that? Oh, things were absolutely not horrific. They were unacceptable. And Josh Fluke does an outstanding job documenting how corporate America lies, cheats. Forget your taxes or finances or bailouts. Just in terms of employer-employee relations, how they screw people over. And then that says nothing about the working environment that you're about to go into. And we didn't have stimmy checks in my day, boys and girls, or student loan bailouts. Well, you don't have that yet either. So we had to work. We had to go and suffer through this. Now it's like, nope, living at home. Nah, I don't think I'm going to do that. And so there's this accidental self-respect where it's like, no, I'm not taking that job. And the idea, the concept of a living wage, as I've gotten older, I'm like, why would you accept anything less than a living wage? If you can't live on it, I'm sorry, I can't live on that. You're going to have to pay more. And now corporations are following, oh, I guess you're right, okay. $500 hiring bonus, $15 an hour. They still got a gay, couldn't offer that extra buck, could they now? All these, and people are like, no, we're not going to do it. Now, here's the opportunity for young people. I'll argue that it could be $20 or $25 an hour. The upbringing younger generations have had, the indoctrination, the brainwashing that they've received, they're not going to take that job. They're not. Now I'm talking to you, the individual, who might have an intellectual interest in economics and your own financial future. The vast majority of people, and nobody really wants to work. Nobody really wants to work, I'll grant you that. I could talk about my philosophy on laziness later. But young people in general are going to continue to sit on their asses and watch YouTube videos or TikTok videos or play their video games or watch the prawn, right? And no one's going to get off their ass and go do anything, let alone physical labor or a trade. Like, it's not exciting, it's not sexy, but installing gutters, or learning how to be an electrician, or even just learning how to frame, or just being a waiter or a waitress. They don't want to do that. I don't want to work. I just want to bang on my drums all day. Or, for those of you who are smarter than the average bear and a young person, you have an incredible economic opportunity here that has not been offered to young people since about the 1960s. And I mean the early 60s. It has not been the last time you could have graduated from high school. You don't even have to graduate from high school. You just have to go like in the afternoons as a 16-year-old, depending on what labor laws are in your state, and learn how to make gutters. Learn how to operate the gutter machine. Learn how to do siding. Learn to show up on time and just serve the coffee. Because there's such a labor shortage of young people, and the older people, not through any nefarious planning or conspiracy, they got to manage. They got to do the sales. They got to do the accounting. They need boots on the ground. And since now there's not enough young people coming into these fields, they can't, they're 8 weeks backed up. They can only take on 5 houses instead of 8. And there's such a demand right now that they're offering hiring bonuses to be a waiter. Marla's Restaurant over in South Dakota, 3 locations, convenient locations. Because they can't find that they're willing to pay you a living wage. This has not happened since roughly, if I were to go back and analyze it, the 60s. Certainly not the 70s, because that entire decade sucked. Maybe a glimmering hope in the 80s, and that was immediately snuffed out. Certainly by the 91 recession. So what you could, because here's what's going to happen. Even Uncle Joe isn't going to keep that money printer going burr for a long time. There's enough economists with sane heads who are going to say, look, you got to stop printing off more money, or you're going to make housing prices so high that people won't be able to afford rents. Oops, already happened. I wonder what's going to happen to tuition prices when we keep making money printer go burr. So they're going to end that. And then you're going to have people, it's already happening at the state level. I believe it's Montana and Georgia, among, I think, South Dakota even, where these governors are like, we're done with the stimmy checks. We need labor. And they're going to basically use the fact like, hey, you're not getting your free government checks anymore. Now get a job and start working. And I got to work. Do you want to be... Because now the employers know if you're part of that crowd, you were basically a loser. You were lazy. Or do you want to avail yourself of getting there first, getting that hiring bonus, getting the living wage, and also getting seniority, and then that the employers know, hey, this guy's got a work ethic. And you start this career. And on top of that, and then they can't, look, you get these wages now. Let's say you start at $17 an hour. Are you rich? No, but a man or a woman can live off of that. And then maybe you start as you don't start, you start as a rookie like everybody else. But after a year or two, all of a sudden you're foreman. assistant supervisor, maybe supervisor. Now you're making $20 an hour. Okay, you can live off of that in California, the socialist utopia of. But the point is, and this is the great part, you don't have to go to college. You don't even have to go get like a trade school or community. You'll get training. And it won't, you can always go to college. Don't worry, it'll be there, right? You could always go back to college. But I've never said, hey, you can even go before 16. Like, I'm the age that people are having kids. Do you know what babysitters are paid? Like, let's say you're a competent 13-year-old, right? You don't set the place on fire. You can watch a couple kids without, murdering them all or taking the car out for a spin. You can make $20-25 an hour if you show up on time and you do a good job. I mean, and we'd have to adjust for inflation, but let's say 4 hours gone, you get $25 an hour. That's $100 cash. You ain't paying taxes on that. As a 13-year-old making $100, that'd be like $50 a night. You worked that's $100 a week, assuming you do Friday, Saturday nights. Dude, you'd be rolling in it. And you can't be. I guess you can be a professional babysitter. That's what all the liberal arts majors go and become. They become what? Not paramours, au pairs. They put that on their resume. I'm an au pair. Oh, a babysitter. Okay. Except you got 80 grand in college debt for a sociology degree. Me doing something you could have done at 13. The larger point is, this is not going to last forever. This tight labor market will not last forever. And once those stimmy checks end, there's going to be a flood of labor hitting the market. And then wages are going to go down. Now, do you want to lock in at a high wage with a hiring bonus and frontline pole position? Look it up. It's a race leader. You could be a pole position for the next promotion. And with the reputation, you're one of the people that actually had a work ethic. And then you're going like that. And you don't have to you could go to college later. All of a sudden you're making a living wage by the age of 19. You live at home for a while because that's the new hip thing to do, ladies and gentlemen. And then all of a sudden you're banking and saving money. You may put a down payment on the house by the time you're 25. Now, today, now, go, do. Because it ain't going to be like this for long. Anyway, if you know some young people, share this with them. If you yourself are a young person, go to something, go find something. Because, man, it's going to go away. It's going to go away. And then you're going to be, hey, remember when we could have made $17 an hour? And it's go right back to $8.50 or whatever the minimum wage is in your state. Anyway, I got a bunch of stuff linked down below. Most importantly, go get that book, How Not to Become a Millennial. It's going to help you youngins a lot more. If millennials, you didn't listen, so it's too late for you. We just point at you going, ha ha! And then, I guess, also get the book Bachelor Pad Economics and the other book, Worthless. The Young Person's Indispensable Guide to Choosing the Right Major. But by God, please, share this with young people because you're not going to have another opportunity like this. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.